Hi guys, thank you for joining me on this webinar. My name's Colin Baker and my company is Full Blast Advertising. We specialize in online advertising, digital marketing, and particularly paid advertising such as Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, and e-commerce campaigns. And this webinar is really hosted by Mullingar Chamber, who are putting on a series of webinars over the last few weeks to help businesses respond to, I suppose, the coronavirus pandemic and the huge shift in, I suppose, business that has taken place in the last few weeks. And I just ask anyone joining to please mute their microphones there. There's just background noise coming through, so please mute your microphones so that it's not affecting everyone else. So in this webinar, we hope to cover down to the basics to a bit more advanced stuff of how you can grow your online sales and strategies. Guys, sorry there, guys. Could you please mute your microphones on entry?
You can mute them. You can.
Sorry, this should be all muted now. Yeah, so let's crack on. So my name is Colin Baker. We help people through consulting, training, and of course, management of marketing campaigns. The first picture there is at the Amplify Digital Conference in Crow Park, where it was kind of presenting similar to this about helping businesses grow their online sales. The second picture is some group training, which I suppose we won't be doing for a long time now. And the third one, of course, was an award ceremony for a marketing campaign, which involved Winterfest Mullingar. And I actually missed the award ceremony very badly because I was at a football match, but however. So what we're going to cover today, I'm going to show you the common mistakes that businesses make trying to grow their online sales. And there's so many mistakes you can make, and don't let that dishearten you. But I'm going to talk about main mistakes and kind of macro mistakes rather than the nitty gritty things that will make little differences to your advertising campaigns. Just some pitfalls that you want to avoid. I'm also going to share with you some tactics that you can use to increase sales from your website right now. And this is by no way an exhaustive list, but it's one that is commonly used, and it's ones you can use pretty much straight away with no real experience to get going. But of course, the more experience you have and more time and expertise with these things, they'll obviously be more beneficial. I'm also going to show you some long-term strategies that you should use to grow your e-commerce website. So the tactics will look at things you can do to get awareness and get sales right now. And if you implement them, you will get sales straight away, but they will dry up. So you need to have a long-term approach to attracting new customers and doing that on a scalable, in a scalable manner. And I'm also going to show you some tools just to make your life a little bit easier. And there's so many tools out there. And again, it's by no means an exhaustive list of what I'm going to share, but it's just some ones that we use commonly and that will help you a lot. So in the next 1 to 2 hours, hopefully it won't take that long, but I'm going to help you understand the reality of selling online and common mistakes to avoid. Obviously, I know a lot of people here are not experienced with selling online, not experienced with even IT or computers. And I just want to make sure you realize the differences of selling online, but also give you some realism about what's actually facing you, rather than what's often seen in the internet marketing world is kind of hype and hyperbole and lots of pie in the sky kind of dreams. I'm going to give you the tactics, strategies, and tools, as I said, that you can learn more about in your own time and implement to grow your sales. But by all means, ask me about them. And if you've any questions on this webinar, feel free to put them in the chat, as I said. But definitely, if you want to guarantee a response, just email me, column@fullblastadvertising.com, just because the Zoom chat can be a bit crazy when there's so many numbers on it and hard to get to. I'm going to give you real no BS advice that will stand the test of time. I'm not going to teach you flashy kind of shiny tactics that as you often see in the online world. It'll say you go from 0 to 6-figure sales in 60 days. I'm not going to give you that kind of thing. I'm going to give you the principles, a real understanding and real tactics that will make a difference to your sales. But I'm also going to be real with you and say that you need to be consistent in what you do, spend a lot of time on this, and it takes a huge amount of work to get good at it. I'll give you, this webinar is going to be a comprehensive guide that you should refer to when reviewing your marketing campaigns. So you'll leave this webinar with a huge amount of enthusiasm and you're ready to take over the world. But down the line, you will move away from these principles and these strategies just by human nature more than anything else. You'll just see some creep into other things that you shouldn't be doing. And I want you, maybe if it's 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line, when you're reviewing your marketing campaigns, come back, have a listen to this again and see, are you still kind of adhering to the core principles that you need to be? I'm going to answer your questions about selling online. Feel free to pop them in the chat as we go, but I won't get to them until the end of the webinar if we have time. And if I don't get to them, I will follow up on email if possible. And I'm also going to give you the chance to get your online marketing strategy designed for free. So there will be a link at the end of this just to get a free consultation with myself, 30-minute consultation, nothing huge. But just given the amount of people that are on this, I can't really give much more. But this is all going to be very general stuff, and different things, different businesses, different business models will have to approach things differently. And I'll give you specific help for your specific business. So, common mistakes that businesses make when selling online. Now, just with this, there's loads of mistakes you can possibly make. Don't lose heart, but just be aware of them. These are real macro mistakes that I would see, and that can be really damaging, rather than little micro mistakes that maybe reduce your click-through rate or lead to having a slightly lower return on advertising. So some business owners dive in all guns blazing as soon as they get an e-commerce website without understanding the realities of selling online, and lose thousands of euros buying unnecessary software, spending thousands on ads, and put all their eggs into one basket. So this, and remind yourself that I'm saying this to you as someone who makes their living from managing ad campaigns for businesses. If I'm telling you that's the truth, you better believe it, because I'm shooting myself in the foot. But you need to take it one step at a time. And oftentimes business owners start spending on advertising before they have the systems in place to deal with the extra traffic or to maximize the profit from that ad spend. So that's not good either. So you have to start gradually and you have to build it up. You have no marketing strategy to engage, attract, and convert customers in a reliable, consistent manner. What often happens is that business owners just start posting sales pitches online to Facebook, Twitter, or whatever it is, or start shooting out emails every day to their email list about sales pitches. And there's no real strategy, there's no thought behind it, and there's no process to bring people with different needs and different levels of intent from the point of awareness to the point of purchase. You get caught up by the internet marketing hype and become discouraged when they don't make 6-figure sales in 60 days. So oftentimes people say, God, if I started a website like that, this will make millions, or this will be a real flyer. The reality of it is that it's much harder than most people expect, and it's much more difficult to make real high revenues online, but it's absolutely possible. Just don't get caught up. As you start investigating more and more and you start researching more and more about online marketing, unfortunately everything you do is tracked, and you're going to start seeing ads and more content from internet marketing gurus, as they call them, and they'll be pitching you the stars and the possibilities of kind of living on a beach and not working 4 hours a week and making 100,000 a day. Oftentimes other business owners often become the victim of shiny toy syndrome and constantly flip from one strategy, tactic, or software to another. So stick to your principles, understand the principles, and keep at them, keep developing, keep scaling them, and then add in new things. Then add in maybe the latest software that might help you, or a new marketing platform. But get good first before you start jumping to other things and looking for something that will solve all your problems. Most business owners focus on the initial profit margin on the first sale rather than the lifetime value of a customer. And this is a real problem for business owners who work with kind of agencies like ourselves. Of course, you're always looking at your cash flow and your margins, but you have to understand that the initial sale is going to be the least profitable, whereas once you have that customer, you should have systems in place to re-engage with them and sell to them again and again, but also have them promote and advocate your business. So the lifetime value of that customer is a lot more than the initial profit margin. But if you solely think about those initial profit margins, you'll end up giving up on all this online advertising, and you won't be convinced you can make a sustainable profit from it. And to back that up, you know, a big mistake is not having an after sales process. And we always think about getting customers, how to get more customers, how to get more sales. But having a great after sales process to maximize the value of those customers is often easier and so much more valuable if you do it well. So most people expect to make money just by throwing up a product. You love your products, you love your business, you think they're great, you think everyone needs them, and you think if I throw these up, you know, and it speaks to every mother in Ireland, and there's whatever 300,000 mothers, I don't know, that's a complete guess, but you think they'll all be interested in that, or a large proportion of it. And to be honest, you know, there's so much more work that has to be done to capture people's attention, get their interest, and compel them to actually make a purchase. If you don't tailor your marketing to your target audiences, so you really need to get inside people's heads with your marketing, your advertising, your imagery, your copy, and every kind of message that you're putting out there. The more specific you are to a particular audience, the better your results will be. And if you're all things to all people, you'll absolutely fail 100%. You'll get lost in the noise. So you can speak to multiple people, but not at the same time. So with your advertisements, try to segment your audience into particular groups who have particular needs, wants, desires, frustrations, and speak to the emotions that they might have or the needs that they might have, and be as specific as you can. Have no lead generation strategy and think that email marketing is dead. So email marketing often gets bad rap, and you'll always see from internet marketing people saying, oh, this is the new email marketing, or email marketing is dead. It's absolutely not, and it's one of your most valuable tools, but only if you use it right. So you have to understand about email marketing, you have to have a strategy about email marketing, but it is absolutely so valuable. You don't own your audience on Facebook. You don't own your audience on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Twitter, on any of these things. They can all be taken down in the morning. Your profiles can be banned. Companies could go bust. Probably not likely, but you can have any amount of nightmares with all social media marketing platforms. Your advertising accounts can get banned. Your ads can get stopped. And there's anything in the world that can go wrong with them, but you own your email marketing list. You'll always have it, and you can always contact people until they unsubscribe, I suppose. But it's also free, so you can build an email marketing list, and then at certain times in the year or the season or whenever you need to contact them, for example Black Friday, you can email out to them and have a campaign there to whatever, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people for free. So obviously there are costs associated with building that list, but actually sending the content is free. So you definitely need to have a strategy for getting people's information, email information, and you definitely need to have an email marketing strategy. And then another mistake is have no email automations to enhance conversion rates, because of course they think email marketing is dead. So email automations are where you have people who are, you have their email address already. There may be a user on your site, past customer, or maybe you have a membership site or something like this, and they've logged into their account on your website. And then they go to visit a product and they add it to your cart, but they don't buy for whatever reason. Maybe their phone has gone dead, maybe their data has died, or maybe maybe they're just not sure about the product yet, if it's right for them, or they're not sure about your terms, maybe your delivery terms or something like that. But you can have an email automation set up that emails them 3 hours after they add to cart if the purchase isn't completed, or that emails them a week down the line with other similar products that they might have, or maybe a campaign about the benefits of that product. So there's lots you can do, and not having that if you have an e-commerce site, or even if you're a B2B business that's just working on lead generation, email automations are so vital to you. If you place no value in copywriting, and yes, you guessed it, email marketing, that's a massive mistake. So shift your thinking from making an email look nice to making it compelling and interesting. And copywriting is the words you use to persuade people, to capture their interest, and to compel them to take action. And if you don't invest in that, be it through your own skills or learning or hiring a copywriter, you're not going to have as good a conversion rates, and you're not going to have as good a return on investment. So definitely consider things from your customers' perspective and what they might need to know, and write your content, be it your product descriptions, your adverts, your emails, your social media content. Always think about their perspective and what might be going through their heads. You don't implement tactics that will increase online reviews and feedback. So oftentimes business owners are kind of worried about bad reviews, negative reviews, and completely understand that and get that. But if someone's willing to buy from you, you should be trying to get reviews from them. You should have the faith and the confidence in your product to think that you get a positive review. And if you don't, it's how you then address that review. And without doubt, it can go horribly wrong if you don't do this in the right way. But it is so valuable to have that social proof of showing that other people have bought this product and they've had a good experience with it. And that will really influence your sales. If you don't provide easily accessible online support, so the phone companies, utility companies are horrible for this. It's very hard to get in touch with them. It can be a nightmare talking to them. And that's why people hate dealing with them. But you should try to provide some support. And of course, depending on the size of your business, this is often hard to do. So people understand if you can't provide live online chat support, but show that you are willing to answer their questions, and that they can contact you and get back to them as soon as you possibly can. And people are absolutely, appreciate that and like to get that feedback. But, you're not going to be able to do absolutely everything. So don't be too worried if you can't do everything, but just consider the choices you're making in if you're completely cutting your business off and not allowing them to contact you in any way. A big mistake you can make as well, and similarly to this, is when you're starting out, you're comparing yourself to experienced e-commerce businesses, and that's fine. By all means, kind of hack what they're doing and take good points from what they're doing, but don't be thinking you're going to be able to fulfill everything they're fulfilling or do everything in the way that they do it. And don't let that paralyze you. So often I would kind of consult with people, and they'd be saying, oh, well, this business does this, this, and this, and we can't really launch our website till we have this, this, and this. And that's absolutely the wrong way to think about it. Yes, you need a basic level to operate, but some things are going to take more time. You're not going to have that level of investment. So just get started and build your way up to those things. A huge mistake is not measuring, analyzing, and optimizing your marketing according to the metrics. So the big thing about moving online, as opposed to retail in some respects, is that you can measure absolutely everything. So you can measure how many people seen your ads, how many people clicked on it, how long they watched the video for, which website pages to visit before the purchase, which ones led to higher value purchases, the average order. You can test absolutely everything. So you should measure it, analyze it, infer what might be going on, and then try and optimize it with different tests. Another big mistake is constantly selling on social media. And we mean this by your organic social media that you're popping up, that you're just putting up yourself on Facebook or Instagram. This is not your paid advertising. But if you're just constantly sell, pitch on social media, those platforms are going to end up being like a tumbleweed, and no one will be listening, and everyone will be unfollowing you or tuning you out. And even if they don't actually take that specific action to unfollow you, the algorithms that dictate how many people will see your content will know that people aren't engaging with it, and you'll end up reaching less and less. And there's a huge amount of mistakes that can be made when designing your website. I'm not going to get into all of them, and I hope your website designer will do that for you. But if one big thing is a complicated checkout process. If you've millions of steps, or you have a really slow checkout, or if you're asking ridiculously cumbersome information, that's going to really affect you. So streamline it as much as possible. And I suppose in business in general, spreading yourself too thin. If you're trying to do everything yourself, if you're trying to advertise on 6 different social media platforms, if you're trying to do 3 social media posts a day, if you're trying to then work in the shop as well, you're not going to be able to do it all. So you need to understand that, yes, all these mistakes, they're wonderful, avoiding them all, but you're going to make some of them. You're not going to be able to invest in some things, maybe, for example, like copywriting or online support, stuff like that. But it's on the to-do list, and it's there to get done. But really cover the important things first, core principles, and pick a channel that you're going to really hone in on initially that will get you started, and then develop it from there, and definitely bring other people in, delegate it where you can, automate it where you can, and outsource it where it's needed. And one more actually for the website developers is, so any unintuitive, slow, unresponsive, not mobile responsive, or cumbersome site navigation is going to really affect your sales. So that's just some mistakes. I know it seems like a lot, but there are some mistakes I want to get across to you about that you can make, and you need to just kind of hold them there and keep referring back to them, and you will creep into some of them. So please just kind of check yourself and every few months, and see that you're not doing that. So I know a lot of people here are either retail oriented, or retail businesses, haven't sold online before, or are B2B businesses who maybe publish online on social media, but don't actually get a huge amount of customers from online, or don't have a lead generation strategy. So basically, you're building some awareness about your business, but it's not proven that effective for you. So we're just going to talk about the realities of selling online. And online versus retail shopping, in both, just to simplify it, in both cases, you need to attract people to the store. You need to make it easy for people to browse products and make their own purchasing decisions. In both cases, you need to provide help or assistance. And I suppose in a retail setting, this is by your staff. And you need to do this in a different way on your website to increase the likelihood that they'll make a purchase. In both cases, excellent customer service leads to increased average order value and lifetime value of a customer. Everybody knows when you get a really good retail assistant who just knows has great customer service and knows everything about the products, you know how much that helps sales. And similarly, if you compare two e-commerce websites, one with loads of information that answers the questions in a real succinct and concise manner, compared to one that has no information or has excessive amounts of information, there'll be a huge difference in the conversion. In both cases, you need to attract your target market to the store and then make it as easy as possible for them to buy. And you have to consider that different people are at different stages of this buying process. And people are either specifically searching for a product, or a product catches their attention when they weren't specifically looking for it. And how can you influence both of those stages? And in both cases, people will typically go to the most convenient location or to a particular store due to the product offer mix or because of loyalty. So most convenient might be the nearest to them or the one with free parking in a retail setting. Online, it might be the one that comes up first on Google, or it might be the one that is advertising a really amazing offer on social media at a particular time. They might go to because of the product offer mix. So maybe there's a particular company that has stocks the best products or has the best brands, or there's another product that has a great offer at the moment and you're going to go to them. And that's the same online. And again, loyalty online, you will find as you start this that your first sales come from people who already know your business. Maybe they're your customers in your retail business, and they just having the chance to get into town or to see something they really want on your website. Or maybe they're not living in your local area anymore and they want to order stuff online. So the core principles are the same, but the mechanisms that you use to fulfill these principles are different. The important thing is not to overcomplicate things online. You will get lost in the nitty gritty of how to increase your click-through rate on a Facebook advert. But that's important when you get to that level. But initially, work towards fulfilling these principles and always think back to these principles rather than getting distracted by shiny toys, and optimize your marketing tactics as you become more experienced to increase your profitability. But just remember that building a profitable online store takes a lot of time and a huge amount of continuous work. You are not going to set this up and start making millions in the next few days. And I suppose the thing we forget, I'm just going to look at the chat there. Johnny syndrome, come on, Johnny. But anyways, it's getting back to this. Building a profitable online store takes a lot of time and continuous work. And basically, you have to imagine opening a retail store in a desert. So when you build a website, your website is built, you have all your products there, and you have everything working great, fantastic, and look unbelievable. You could have spent thousands on it. But you've no customers, you've no footfall, and essentially it's like having a retail shop in a desert. Now, the only way you're going to make this profitable is by your actions, and whether that's you controlling the marketing, your team controlling the marketing, or hiring someone to control the marketing. You need to market your store consistently and strategically to bring customers to it and bring them from that point of awareness to the point of purchase. And the problem people have is that they launch this store, and we're even retailers or B2B businesses, we're a little bit familiar online. In some respects, we're all posting on social media, and we post up that we've got a new website online, and you start getting a few sales, and you think, oh, Ginny, this internet marketing is easy. And then 3 or 4 weeks down the line, you're seeing the sales dry up, and you're blaming website developers, and you're blaming whoever else asked you to get a website. But the problem there is that really your existing customer base will know about your shop, and they'll find out about it through your email marketing or your social media marketing, or maybe you're telling them when you're in store. And of course, a few local people will find out about you as well or use your website, but you've no way of acquiring new customers and people that didn't know your brand before you had the website. So you have to implement tactics and strategies that we're going to show you to get them more accustomed to your business. Just remember, when you move online, you'll be competing with many more competitors with much more experience of selling online and much bigger budgets. So you need to realize that while there are quick wins, building a profitable online store will take considerable time, work, and investment. And just give you a simple example. So if you are dealing with, if you're a local independent jewelers and you're looking to attract people and convince people to spend, maybe 400 or 500 euros with you for a product, and you've never marketed online before, and there's companies out there, jewelry companies out there that are spending hundreds of thousands of euros every month and have tested everything and have the best people working on them on their marketing. You have to be realistic. You're going to make some sales, but it's going to take time, work, and investment to get to that level. And you are competing against them, whether you think it or not. Once you move out of your local area, you're competing against everyone else. So expectations should be in line with your experience, your team's experience, your level of investment on your website, and your marketing budget. I would say to you, start now, start small, gain experience, and scale your budgets in line with your success. So if you have, the more experience you have, the higher your budget should be. If you're starting now, if you have a really unique product, go for it. By all means, spend money to get traffic and build awareness. But if you are a retail provider who has thousands of other competitors out there, start small. Don't dive in all guns blazing. Learn and develop and build and grow your sales in a way that's sustainable and a way that you can scale easily. So now I'm going to give you some tactics you'll be all familiar with. Some of them I'm going to give you some points on each one of them, and really you can try whichever ones you want. You can research more about them. You can learn how to do the nitty-gritties of it yourself. But if you've any questions on any of them, again, email me, colin@fullblastadvertising.com. Feel free to pop it in the chat box, and I'll try and get to them at the end of the webinar. But again, this isn't an exhaustive list by any ways, and I'm not saying either one of these are right for your specific business, but you will be able to analyze them and see what they're all about. So first of all, you have to really realize there's 4 stages to increasing your online sales, and more people need to find out about that you have an online store. So how can you build awareness? More people need to visit your website. So you need to be thinking, how can you capture those customers' attention? And then you need to think that more people need to complete orders once they visit your website. So a big thing for retailers, a big kind of shock maybe that sometimes they have, is that when you think about people coming into your retail store, usually a high percentage of them will actually buy in the grand schemes of things. Maybe it's 20 to 50 to 90%, depending on your industry. But, a huge amount of them will buy. In the online world, it's a lot different. The average conversion rate is about 1 to 2%. And that's when you have all things lined up really well and doing really good. So that means 1 or 2 out of 100 website visitors will typically buy. So you need to think about how you can increase these conversions and what you can do to increase them. And then, of course, because conversions are so low, how can you keep people coming back and referring you to others? Because you'll find it much easier to convince them to buy again than finding new people to buy. So just going to list all the tactics here, and then we'll take them one by one. So you've organic social media marketing. This is just where you post into your Facebook and Instagram. Social media paid advertising. This is where you're paying for exposure. And just if you have done, I'm sure many of you have boosted a post on Facebook, what we're talking about is not that. Boosting is the most basic side of that, but the paid advertising we're talking about is kind of more comprehensive, sophisticated campaigns that use paid advertising on social media. Google advertising, so Google AdWords, that kind of thing, email marketing, affiliate marketing, influencer marketing, conversion rate optimization, guest features, and traditional marketing like radio, newspapers, can still help grow your sales online. So organic social media marketing, the big thing to understand is that, and you're probably aware of this, that your posts will only reach a percentage of your followers, and this is always decreasing. So business pages have the least priority on platforms like Facebook. So you will have more of a chance of seeing your friends' posts, posts in groups, or posts by people you frequently engage with. And then comes business pages. So your percentage will typically be from about 1 to 10% of reach, or your engagement might be of 1 to 10%, and you might some people will only reach that many people. So organic social media marketing is great if you're a viral type company, or if you have a really good connection, or you tell really great stories and you're really good at online marketing. And it can be a hugely valuable tool if you use right, but I would say very few businesses use it like that. It's much harder to grow an audience now than it ever was. And unfortunately, just by the way that it's built, it's built on how often people engage with you, how likely they are to engage with you. And then it becomes, the problem is that the same people keep on seeing your content again and again. So you want to use it sparingly for sales content, and 80-20 is a good strategy there, but even less. So 80% of your content should be kind of info-taining content, as to call it. So bit of crack, bit of information, bit of help, bit of value, and maybe a bit of storytelling. And then only 10 or 20% of your content should be about sales. And this is because of these algorithms. So the work by engagement, the more people that engage with you, the more people these social media platforms will push out your content to. And the more that that happens, the more your audience will grow, and it's kind of cyclical. But unfortunately, that cycle works in reverse. The less people engage with you, the less people will see it, the less your audience will grow. So if you're publishing sales content constantly, you're not going to you're going to see a decline in your reach, and you're not going to see growth in your followers. And just remember your brand's voice and who your brand actually is in organic social media marketing. Like, it's all well and good, looking at influencers or looking at businesses like, let's take the White Moose Cafe, for example. They have a unique kind of business and voice and positioning, so they can do that. But if you're, for example, a solicitor or a pharmacist, you wouldn't want to be putting out that kind of content. So you have to be aware of that. Social media should not be used as a notice board for your offers, and always step into your audience shoes. And this goes for all your advertising, but you really need to think about it on organic social media marketing. How can you capture their interest? How can you stimulate them to engage? By engage, we mean comment, like, share. And remember that the algorithms dictate your reach. You need to stimulate engagement and understand this, but don't obsess about it. So people get lost in the nitty-gritty of this so much and spend so much time trying to increase their engagement, and are constantly posting to social media when it's going out to the same 400 or 500 people all the time, and they're trying to increase their engagement by 1%, which means it will go out to an extra 5 people. So really understand the basics of it. Don't obsess too much about it, unless you're at a stage where you have 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 followers already, or you have a business that's actually quite engaging, really good story to tell, and that's going to be really important for you. But the majority of businesses, it won't be the core of your online marketing. And social media marketing, the organic side of things, should be used for long-term cultivation and nurturing of your audience through infotaining content. So it's about storytelling. Paid advertising then, and this is mainly, Facebook is number one for this. So your paid advertising is those sponsored posts that you see on Facebook and Instagram. This is what we specialize in. It's creating like I suppose comprehensive campaigns of this to help increase your awareness, build your audience, grow your leads, and increase your sales. But every social media platform has a paid advertising model. So Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, they all have them. For retailers, and the only ones you really need to concern yourself with, particularly if you're only starting out in online advertising, is Facebook and Instagram. And Facebook owns Instagram, so your Facebook ads and Instagram ads are all done on one platform. I'm not saying don't ever consider advertising elsewhere, but Facebook is the most comprehensive, the easiest to use, and the most widely used. YouTube ads can be very effective, but they mightn't suit your particular business, and it can be a bit harder to create captivating content for YouTube. Twitter ads can work particularly around trends or events, but there's much lower user rate of Twitter in Ireland in general. And then, of course, LinkedIn ads, if you're B2B, they're a good resource, but they're much more expensive. So social media advertising is what we call disruptive advertising. So you're browsing along, you're scrolling through your newsfeed, and these ads start appearing, and you're basically interrupting people's regular browsing. And what am I after doing? Oh, Johnny Mac. Sorry. After going back a huge amount for some reason. Come on. So yeah, so you're interrupting people's regular browsing. It's relatively low cost and relatively easy to get started, but becomes difficult to scale profitability, particularly when you're advertising to large audiences. So what you should do is advertise to what we call warm audiences initially, using what Facebook call custom audiences. And these warm audiences are people that already know your brand. For example, they might be your social media followers. They might be people who visited your website. You can advertise to them if you have your tracking pixels on your website. And your email subscribers, you can upload your list to Facebook and advertise to them. Or another warm audience is your local area. So think about it, if your retail store in Mullingar, everyone within 15 kilometers is probably going to know about you. So you can just advertise directly to everyone in your key audience within 15 kilometers of your town. So they would be a warm audience. They're aware of your brand and know what you do. Then you want to advertise to your ideal target market using demographics, behaviors, interests, and what Facebook calls lookalike audiences. So demographics are like age, location, whether you're male, female, whatever, if you have particular variances there in your offerings. Behaviors, everything you do is tracked online. They know more about you than you know yourself. Just remember, all your customers are scrolling away online, they're clicking on things, they're watching videos, they're going to different websites, they're downloading stuff, they're buying stuff. Facebook is tracking it all, Google is tracking it all, everything is monitored, it's all tracked. And they then compile this information and segment their users based on their behaviors and interests, and allow us to then, as advertisers, target our ads to specific groups based on their behaviors and interests. So I can target people who are in a relationship, people who are married, people who are parents. I can target people who are interested in sports. I can get very specific with that. I can target people who are interested in GA, who are interested in Tyrone GA, all these kind of things. So you can get very specific with that, or very broad with that. And lookalike audiences then are, again, another use of Facebook's massive data banks, where once you have 1,000 visitors to your website or 1,000 leads on your email list from the one country, you can upload that to Facebook, create what they call a custom audience, and you can say to Facebook, I want to find more people like this audience. And they will find you according to their behaviors and interest data, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 that resemble your customer list. As close as to 1%, 5%, or 10% similarities. So that can be very powerful. Copywriting and content are really important in social media paid advertising, because remember, you're interrupting people's browsing. You have to be able to get them to stop the thumb, and you have to be able to create thumb stopping content. So you need images, content, and copywriting that really speaks to them, really captures their interest, and compels them then to take the next step, which is usually visit the website. But it might be something like comment below or something like that. But you have to have that call to action. You have to stimulate their interest, and it's so important because they're not actually looking to be sold by you or for that particular content. They're just browsing their friends' posts, news, and all that kind of thing. And so what we'll talk about in a while is sales funnels, and these are the use of different tactics at different stages of your marketing campaign simultaneously to move people from the point of awareness to the point of purchase in a scalable and predictable manner as quickly as possible. And just remember, you're not only competing with other businesses, you're competing for space on social media advertising with their friends, their family, the news websites to follow, and then of course other advertisers. So your adverts have to be good. You have to know what you're doing. And you often see people running a campaign like this page to keep up to date with our latest news. And if you think that's compelling enough to surpass their news from their friends or updates from their family, you're kind of kidding yourself. So you have to make a strategic effort to capture people's attention and stimulate their interest. Google AdWords then are when you search on Google and you're advertising directly to people based on the keywords they use in that search. So you'll often see, if you search on Google, the first 2 or 3 results are ads, and then even down the page, at the bottom of the page, there's more ads, and to have a little ad sign beside the result. So these businesses are paying Google to position themselves there or compete with other advertisers to position themselves there. And Google chooses which advertiser they believe will be the right answer for that particular user, and that's based on the relevancy of your particular keywords or search or your business to that particular user. So you're obviously competing against other advertisers to appear higher on search results. And also you're competing with those regular searches that aren't paid searches that are there through search engine optimization, which we'll get to later. And then you're also can compete to be featured on the Google Display Network partner sites. And this is kind of more like disruptive social media advertising. This is where you might be visiting a website, say like the Irish Independent or something like that, and you see these banner ads for a particular product, or a big one going around at the moment now, actually, that I actually availed of, was the one big switch $29.99 to air broadband. So if you look at that, you'll see it's pretty captivating. It's pink and blue, like I can even remember the ad. But that's kind of disruptive as well, but that's done through Google in some ways. There's other ways like programmatic advertising and audience network on social media, but we won't get into them. So you can compete for general keywords. So it might be stuff like kids footwear, gym equipment Ireland. And these are typically more expensive and poorer performance because they're general and because they're specific, but because lots of people will also be advertising for them because you're going to mass market here and you're going at the point of awareness. So it can be sometimes a wise move to compete for, or typically a wise move to compete for specific long tail keywords. What we say is like these more specific searches. For example, like a pharmacy might search for, advertise to target someone who searches best treatments available in pharmacies for psoriasis. So there's much greater intent there. There's much greater specificity, and you have much higher chance of outranking pharmacies that are spending a lot of money just searching for online, or who are competing for online pharmacy. If someone searches for psoriasis treatments and you're advertising for psoriasis treatments. So this is all comes down to keyword research, and you can start this yourself by putting yourself in the shoes of your potential customers. What are they searching for? And you'll know this yourself, like from being in the shop. What are the questions you typically get? What are the problems people typically face? What are they Googling for answers to? And that's, the basic way of doing keyword research, but there are also tools like SEMrush and a few others that we'll get on to later that will help you with that and do it for you automatically. So email marketing. So I feel like I'm becoming a stickler for email marketing. I didn't realize that when I was designing the webinar. But anyways, email marketing is not dead, outdated, or useless, despite what you might hear. Your email list may be the most valuable online marketing asset that you own, because you don't own a whole lot of the rest of them. And even just to go back to that, like you might be doing a lot of work on SEO and getting your Google ranking higher, but changes then to Google's algorithms can also affect that. So just bear that in mind. So you need to be thinking, what will make a past customer or a subscriber who has never bought open your email, and what content will make them purchase, rather than thinking about, oh, I need to tell people on my email list about this new product I have and how brilliant it is. So they don't care. You need to understand that they're thinking about their needs, wants, desires, and what interests them, not what you consider important about your business. So we touched on copywriting earlier, but this is so important in email marketing. It's pretty much your only tool. Like obviously you can design emails, but really the subject lines and the copywriting are the important parts, rather than having your email looking nice. And by that I mean some people, particularly like I would say traditional retail marketers or management level in corporate, are all about it looking nice, having nice pictures and having a video and having this and having that. But really it's your copywriting. How compelling and persuasive is the content you've put in there that's going to make the difference? And there are cases, like there's a famous copywriter who uses what he calls the 9-word email, and that's it. There's 9 words, and it's one of his highest converting sales emails ever. So it's copywriting here in email marketing is so important, but also segmenting your email list based on subscribers, customers, value, and then sending more specific content to them at different times on different days. So basically most retailers and B2B businesses, they know they should be building an email list. They know they should be emailing them, but they don't. And if they do, they send an email about them, the latest news or newsletter that is of no relevance to the audience whatsoever. once a month or 3 times a month or something like that. And you're shooting against the wind there, because what you need to do is similar to what we were saying in your other online marketing, is be specific and speak to their needs. So your subscribers who've never bought from you, your kind of once-off customers, and your customers who've spent repeated amounts with you, there should be, at times, depending on what campaigns you're doing, different content going to each of them, because they need different messages and they deserve different messages. So imagine someone who's signed up for that free competition you had to win a €100 gift voucher or something, and then the person who spent €10,000 with you, are you going to treat them the same way? If you were the person who spent €10,000, would you be happy that you're getting this random email blast that's going out to everyone? Or would it be a good idea to have an exclusive kind of VIP content just for them? Richard, just a question there. Sorry, I'm just jumping in on some of the questions. But yeah, first name again. So Richard, you're really getting into the nitty gritty there. Definitely it's good to personalize, but that's not going to be the be all and end all. As I was saying, that is real nitty gritty. So focus on the bigger aspects, but definitely using first name is we nearly always use it. The only reason we wouldn't is if it's a sign-up form that didn't allow for it, or something in the background, tech issue that won't allow for it. So definitely use it, yeah. Now. So automations based on website actions. So what most people typically think of in email marketing is newsletters and once-off emails based on times of the year, monthly newsletters, sales, that kind of things. But automations can be much more effective. And automations are where, as I said before, people can log in, or you have a membership site or their past customer, and you track their actions. So maybe they browsed a number of different products, but didn't go to the point of add to cart. Or maybe they did add to cart, but didn't buy. You can have automations set up. You set them up once with your email marketing software, and they go out to every customer or every lead that fulfills those particular trigger actions. So maybe they join a specific list, or you have a specific tag to them, and once they fulfill that criteria, they'll get an email whenever it is, and you can control why it sets off, or how long after they receive the email, or you can put them into a loop that means they'll get a number of different emails throughout the time. So like in a little way, it's similar to what we've done here on a very small scale. But when you signed up for this webinar, you got an email initially asking you for questions and confirming that you wanted to be on the list. And then you got an email this morning with the link to the webinar, and then you got a reminder an hour before to say, here's the link again. So the reason for that is we didn't give you the link straight away, so we'd have a reason to remind you and to email you this morning. I know, aren't we very, very cruel? But obviously people forget and have different things going on. So you want to be emailing people today and having an actual reason to email them. And then of course we just give a gentle nudge then an hour beforehand. And always don't be thinking about sending an email. Think about creating a campaign. So people say, and oftentimes see this, clients would reach out to me, oh, can you send out an email about this? And this thing might be that they are trying to pitch a €20,000 product or service or something like that, and think that one email is going to do the trick. So it needs to be more structured. Definitely depends on what you're doing. Like low cost good impulse buys won't need that, but in most cases you should be building campaigns. Affiliate campaigns. So affiliate marketing is where you reward people for referring customers to you. Affiliates receive a percentage of each sale that is tracked by either custom links or by special discount codes. And this saves you a huge amount of time and resources, because you're not doing any of the marketing, they're doing all the work. But reliable, profitable affiliates are hard to find. So just remember, they're advertising your business and you don't have any control over that. So they could say anything they want. They could advertise in a particular way, and that could be cause a huge amount of problems. So like, apart from our full blast advertising, which kind of helps any type of business, we have another brand that's the Social Pharmacist, and that's pharmacy marketing only. Because my background, I'm also a pharmacist, so it made sense to do that. Oh, Park, I see your notification there. I'll be to it now in a second. But the thing there with pharmacies is that you have to be so careful about your ethics and how you're providing healthcare advice, and there's regulations around advertising and things like that. So using affiliate campaigns, and people are like pitching cures to diabetes or coronavirus, it's obviously not something that you should be doing as a pharmacy. So affiliate campaigns are great, but you have to understand the downside of it as well. And they're difficult to control in general, and obviously has that ethical dilemma. You can minimize this and reduce the effects of this by preparing a promotional pack, so that you say you're only allowed to promote this kind of content, and that you're giving them images or videos that they can promote and share with their audience, and that they give you all their details or where they're sharing this, and you can inspect what they're doing. But just bear in mind, you're never going to know fully. Like, it's not a hugely transparent world. But for the most part, people will be fine with this, and 99, I'm not going to say 99% of them, but in general, it'll be all right. The good thing is that you haven't, aside from your startup point of building a promotional pack, getting all this system in place, you're not spending money. They're doing all the advertising for you, so the risk is much less. But obviously then, because the risk is less, the reward is less. They're taking a percentage of each sale. And you can have a look there at typical affiliate commissions for your industry if you're wondering what they are. But just go to the way to find out best is who's the market leader, the multinational in your sector. Go to their website or search their brand name in Google and say affiliates for that brand name. Affiliate sign up for that brand name, and they'll tell you what they offer their affiliates, and you can just copy and paste that basically. There's also affiliate communities such as cj.com, and this is where you find experienced affiliate marketers, and lots of business will post stuff there, and if some of those marketers like your offering and think that it will suit their audience, they might jump on that and take you on board. But also, the biggest, your best affiliates, particularly when you're starting out, is your past customers and influencers. So can you do what we call I suppose in retail, is referral schemes, and that's really what affiliates are. So can you say to your customers, refer people with this, create your own, so an affiliate program will allow you to create a custom link, or you give them a special discount code, and if they push that out on social media, share it with their friends, they'll get a percentage of the sale. Now, the custom links track everything and automate everything, so it's great. Special discount codes, people are less likely to go with them because businesses can screw them over and not pay them. Joe, what about GDPR issues relating to email marketing? Absolutely no problem with GDPR once you acquire your email leads in the right way. So if you're buying email lists, that is not the way to go about it. Or if you're cold emailing people, that's not really GDPR compliant anymore. But what you're doing here is people who've signed up to your website, and when they're signing up, you've stated that you want them, you have permission to contact them through email, well then that's fine. Obviously in the GDPR world, you have to be careful here with your privacy policy that's on your website and your sign up forms. The 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 thing to be always conscious of is that not to fear GDPR, but actually get some real proper advice on it. And I suppose there's a lot of scaremongering out there, but if you do it in the correct way, that's no problem. And just as well, the other thing would be that there are different ways of I'm going to really save myself here, but I'm going to say I'm not a legal advisor, so get legal advice on this. But it's my understanding that there are 6 different ways that you can contact people, or 6 different principles that you can apply. And one of them is affirmative action, that they tick a box or sign up for something. And that's fair enough, but that's very hard to do. And it's going to reduce your conversion rates on your lead generation. The other thing is legitimate interests. So there is a principle in the GDPR that states legitimate interests. So if someone signs up to your website and for a deal about a particular product, you could claim, if your privacy policy states this, and if the legal advice is there, that you are contacting them because they're legitimately interested in this product, or this range of products, or your business, etc., etc. So definitely get advice depending on what you're doing. But people are fearful of email marketing now, which is great, because if you use it, it's actually more effective than ever, because less people are doing it than once were. Porrick, your question: if a present service online doing well, is it possible to replicate and have a better online service to do even better business than them? I think I understand what you're saying there. You're saying if you know a business is doing well with a particular product or service that they're providing, is it possible to then replicate that and do it even better? Yeah, it's the same. Just give me more detail there if you need to, if I'm not getting the crux of that. But yeah, of course it is. I suppose, but just don't be. I suppose that depends on what you consider doing well and how much information you have on. Everything might look good, but the money mightn't be coming into the bank. I suppose, and you see that a lot of times, that, it's all airs and graces on social media, but it's not actually doing well. If it is actually doing well, think about how much more experience they have on you, how much more they know about their marketing, their testing, their customers, their systems, how much more brand awareness they have on you. And if you think you're able to overcome all that and have the budget and the capabilities and the knowledge and experience to do that, well, then it's definitely worth a shot. But I would say don't underestimate how much they've done to get to that stage and how hard it will be to get there again. So influencer marketing is a very similar concept to affiliate marketing, but payment terms usually differ. So there's usually set fees per post or per campaign, regardless of results, and these can be absolutely extortionate. And it really depends here. You have to treat this with like real caution. People might have 100,000 likes, but they might all be in Asia. They might all be bought. They mightn't have any engagement whatsoever. They mightn't have any trust or influence. And what you're really looking for is someone with influence. So you're looking to reach out to people whose audience love them, trust them, really respect what they're saying, and really take their advice. And if you can work with that kind of person, and just this social media world has coined the term influencers, they're essentially what they are ambassadors or celebrities, really. And you're just using them to pitch your products, and you're saying that you're using their influence over their audience to showcase your products. Now, I don't like influencer marketing in its new social media world concepts, but if you think of the principle of influence marketing rather than the term, it works very well. So let's say you are a fitness instructor, a personal trainer, and you were targeting I'm just going to go off someone I know. You were targeting people in the GA sector. Well, GA players and that kind of thing. Well, if you have top GA players around the country posting that you're the man to talk to if they want to improve their game, well, then that's going to help you, because all the people that follow them and look up to them and see that they trust you, that's definitely going to be successful. So that's fine. If you're a shoe company targeting parents and some social media influencer who has every mother following them, every mother in Ireland following them, and they post about these lovely shoes they're after getting off your company and the experience they had and how nice you are, that's definitely going to be effective for you. But if you're a solicitor and you're having some Instagram model posting about your solicitor business, that's not going to be very effective, is it? So you have to really think about it. Micro influencers is another kind of jargon term, but basically local influencers are obviously cheaper to work with, often easier to work with, and results can be really good. So you might think about, and just thinking about here in Mullingar, this is people who might have maybe a bit more following than the average person in Mullingar. Maybe they have 3,000 or 4,000 followers on Facebook or likes, or maybe they on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever. And if there's something happening in Mullingar, maybe they're the people to go to and get a bit of awareness out there, and it's worth getting that out there. You know, if they're saying good things about you, and if they're promoting you to their audience, and their audience is your potential customers, well, then that's a good thing. But if they're just a general audience, or an audience that don't really mix with your customers, well, then it's not much of a time. It's not very effective. So think about who you want to reach, who has their trust, and reach out to them. And oftentimes, you know, they might just do it for you if they're local or small, or you could give them some products or some discounts or whatever, or you might have to pay them if they're a bit more experienced. But it might be worth it. Think also of other businesses, other outlets. So like, is there particular local groups, that kind of thing? Is there maybe the newspapers have online things? There's Mullingar news and views or whatever. You know, I don't know what story is there, but they post content about the town and that kind of thing, and that gives you some exposure and lets people know about what you're offering. So, you know, definitely you don't have to think of influencer marketing of someone with 1 million followers. And again, the primary concern here is the lack of control of content and what they could say, and performance varies incredibly. So insist on content guidelines and structured content plans before you start. But guest featuring gives you more control. So what I mean by that is, maybe they come in with their phone, and you do a video, or you do a podcast, or you do something like this, or you do a webinar, and it gives you more control, value. But you have to consider that this is time, and how you'll actually perform on that. If you're actually good at this, if you're not good at it, if you don't like being on camera, versus the impact that you'll have. So is it worth your time in doing it to have that control? Now, if you're, and depending on your business, that might be more important. So if you're trying to pitch yourself as an expert, you may want to be there and talking about things. So it's essentially what I'm doing here. So with Mullingar Chamber is they're promoting me in a way, I suppose, as someone who knows stuff about internet marketing and can help local businesses. So before I move on to the next slide, just get to some of the questions. Pork, brilliant. That's great, Pork. Feel free to email me. As I said, guys, feel free to email me at any time. The next thing is conversion rate optimization, and this is a funny marketing technique that you can use, particularly in websites. So what this might be in a retail store is really changing your layout, your merchandising, or your workflow, or your protocols when someone comes into the shop, and to try and get more sales. So what you're doing here is changing your website, and that might be the content, the pictures, the images, the layout, the structure, to increase the amount of people who buy from you. So this is a long process, and it's complicated, and it can take a huge amount of money to invest in. But depending on where you are, you can make some quick wins that typically always increase conversion rates. So make it easier to search for products and include upsells. Copywriting is so important to inform and persuade visitors. So invest in copywriting, learn copywriting, hire a copywriter, or add more copy to your product descriptions and your website in general. Can you provide guarantees? So a 30-day money-back guarantee. Do you have reviews from past customers, testimonials, case studies? Do you have alternative products? So they might be searching for something, let's say they're searching for a pair of brown shoes. Do you, when they click into that product that they're looking at, and then they see the price and they're thinking, I don't know about that, or there's a little bit on the back they don't like, do you have a list of related products or similar products that come up there underneath? Payment secure. So do you have your HTTPS on your URLs? Is it secure site to make payments? Are you accepting payments through secure providers like Stripe, PayPal? And do you specifically state that your payments are secure, so that even just telling them that they are can help? Do you offer free delivery? That will increase your conversion rates if you do. What's your refund policy? Is it stated? Do you have any particular offers? So for first-time customers, do they get 10% off, something like that? So there's ways to increase your conversion rate. And the benefit of this is that you're not spending money on advertising. You're making more of your existing website visitors that your advertising campaigns are bringing in, and you're increasing the profitability. But just remember, don't focus on this too much if you don't have any website visitors. So if you're getting 500 to maybe 1,000 website visitors a month, or 5,000 website visitors a month, this isn't something you should be spending a lot of time on. You should be spending a lot of time on getting more people to the website and then increasing your conversion rate. So guest featuring on blogs, podcasts, website takeovers, very similar to affiliate and influencer marketing. You're using someone else's audience and influence to get exposure, traffic, and gain trust. You can incorporate affiliate sales as a way to entice publishers to get you on the show. And you can use this to position yourself as an expert in marketing, leading brand. Gives you more control of your content and influencer marketing. Just be specific. Think about who you can help, how can you help them, and who has their attention. Go on to them, reach out to those people, show how you can help, why they should pick you, and get on to it. So I'm just going to, the next step is all about long-term strategy. I'm conscious of time and how long this is taking. So I'm going to go quite quickly, but please do contact me with any questions if you're unclear. So what we talk about in long-term sales strategies on each e-commerce is what they call sales funnel. And the idea of this is that you get lots of people at the start of your process. So you're advertising to hundreds of thousands of people maybe who know nothing about your brand or your business. And as they move through from the point of awareness to the point of purchase, it's like a funnel. Some of them disappear and they realize they don't need your products or services. They don't like your offering. It's too pricey. It's not the right product. It's not what they thought it was. It doesn't fulfill the needs they have. And then finally you're coming down and you're getting lower and lower, where people are starting to weigh up the options. They're considering alternatives. They're considering different providers, and then they take an action and they buy or they leave. So what you're doing with it's like a funnel. Essentially, you're starting out with lots and you're working your way down. But the thing you have is the thing you can do here, and more so online than anywhere else, is that you can influence people at each point of the purchasing journey with different strategies and different tactics. And the profitability of your direct sales campaigns are these tactics that we showed you to. So initially, you might use these tactics that we just ran through to get sales, get visitors, and more focus on direct sales. But these will eventually dry up, so you will need to continue to use these tactics, but the way that you use them will be an overall strategy that brings people from the point of awareness to the point of purchase, rather than just specifically doing sales pitches and more focused sales pitches. So many of the tactics are the same, but the focus on long-term should become more strategic and focused on building long-term assets such as social media audiences, email lists, and of course, customer lists. You should focus on optimizing your advertising campaigns to make more profitable sales and repeat sales rather than constantly switching tactics. Scalable, sustainable, and profitable advertising campaigns that grow awareness, attract visitors, grow subscribers, and increase sales. That's the end goal. So you want to have large campaigns go out to a large amount of people that build your awareness, get people to your website, grow your subscribers, and increase sales. That's your perfect situation. So to do this, you need to focus on the core principles we discussed, and again, not get distracted by shiny toys. So rather than a direct sales focus in your marketing, you need to switch your approach to implementing multiple marketing campaigns on multiple platforms to attract people at different phases in the buying process. So what you have to understand is that not everyone is ready to buy, but at the same time, some people are ready to buy straight away and are looking for the solution. But by you giving that direct sales message to everyone, you're turning them off and you're not making the best use of your advertising money. And the thing you have to do is make the best use of it, get the biggest return, and the best use of your time. So you have multiple marketing campaigns to reach people at different points in the buying process. So this is known as a sales funnel, which is marketing jargon, and should be executed to bring your target market from the point of awareness to point of purchase as quickly as possible, but also developed to enhance the lifetime value of a customer. And you want to be able to generate website visitors, leads, and customers consistently. And the main thing here is the lifetime value of a customer rather than the initial sale. So what you'll typically see, and this is just showing the funnel, giving you that concept a bit quicker, is that, you know, out of the 10,000 people that visit the website, you know, only 60% of those might visit the shopping area, only maybe 30% of them might place an item in the cart, and then only 3% make a purchase. So 54 out of 10,000 might make a purchase. And if you're doing that, you're doing all right. So the thing is, though, that's grand and that's on its own, and if it's left alone. But what you're going to do is implement different tactics at different points to increase the numbers that go down, so that rather than 60% visiting the shopping area, you're getting 70 there. And in the next step, you're getting 40. And the next step, you're getting 5. So you're spending the same amount of money, but you're distributing your budget to different marketing campaigns at different points of the purchase to segment approach, and you're hoping for overall a higher return on investment. So there's large e-commerce studies. You're talking about billions of euros spent in e-commerce online, and these studies show that the highest order values come from people who've had multiple interactions with your brand on multiple platforms. So the core thing to take away from that is that while you will get some direct sales and you will get some initial sales off a sales pitch, your sustainable sales channel has to be, you have to realize that it takes multiple interactions. You're not going to just have one post that makes you millions. You're not going to have one ad that's going to be the only one that's running and works completely. You have to reach out to people at different times. So you use different marketing tactics at different points of the funnel to convey multiple messages and multiple offers to stimulate action from people at different stages of the journey. And remarketing is a massive tool in your arsenal to create specific advertising based on people's actions on your website and on social media. And remarketing gets a bad name, and rightfully so, because so many people absolutely ruin it and spam the life out of people with it. So I'm sure you've searched for a hotel or a pair of shoes or something like that, and it then starts following you all around the internet. So you go onto a website and there's another ad about it. You go onto Facebook and there's another ad about it, and then you get an email about it from hotels.com and all this, and that's remarketing. It's where they are advertising to you based on your actions on a website to take you to the next stage. Now, it's the biggest tool you have. It's the most it will always be the highest return. These campaigns, remarketing campaigns, will always be the highest return on your investment, but you have to do it in a way that's engaging, that understands the user's perspectives, possible problems, questions, and not spam the life out of people to death with the one ad that's following them everywhere, the one direct sales pitch. So you have multiple remarketing ads running that maybe take a specific message each time and have lots of different images or lots of different videos running with them, so that there's not that kind of fatigue of seeing the one thing all the time. So it allows you to increase and control their interactions to move your target market through your funnel more quickly and with greater lifetime value. So you can get so specific in this, and so much so that you can remarket people in such a way. Let's say they visit your shop and they browse a particular product. You can have specific ads running to everyone who has visited that product in the last day, the last week, the last month, and have different ads running to all of them. Or you can do it more broad, that just people who visit your website or just people who engage with you on Facebook. But there's so much. I could spend hours and hours and hours talking about remarketing. But another way of doing that is obviously these email marketing automations and newsletters. And the great thing about them is they're free to send, whereas your adverts aren't. And something that everyone forgets, and most businesses, particularly when you're starting out, is that after sales is so important, and the ability to track everything and automate everything makes it so much easier than the offline world. So it's making your life easier, and it's also so much more easier to get past customers to purchase again rather than acquire new customers. And you mightn't realize this at the start, but when you start spending hundreds and thousands of money trying to attract a certain amount of new customers each month, you'll begin to realize, oh, it's a lot cheaper to get people just to purchase again. So what you should be thinking of in after sales is how you can improve the customer experience. Can you offer freebies, discounts, competitions? Can you get referral or affiliate schemes to increase their value to you? Can you stimulate user-generated content, which is them posting to their social media about your business? And a big thing, particularly on YouTube and particularly in the States, but here as well, is unboxing experiences. So have you ever ordered something online and it comes in a brown box and you open it and you think, brilliant, you got your product? Do you make a post about that on social media to all your friends? Typically not. But what about if you get this unbelievable packaging that has that's so unique and so different and really nice and really classy, and it contains a handwritten note from the owner of the shop, and it gives you a discount for your next purchase, and a way to enter a competition to win a trip abroad. Would you post about that? You more than likely will. So the idea is to make them feel special, and you'll stand out from the crowd, get lots of praise, repeat customers, and user-generated content. And then, of course, cross-sells and upsells to maximize your profit through email marketing and remarketing ads. So this starts on your website when someone is buying a product. Here's does your website list other products that people typically buy with this, other recommended products. And then maybe your email marketing, your confirmation should give them 10% off their next purchase, or a particular product. And you can do the same on Facebook or Instagram. You can advertise just people who've bought in the last 24 hours. So just looking at the time, an hour and a half. I think we're near the end, but again, just I'm conscious if you have to leave, feel free to. I'm going to send a recording to everyone anyways, but if any questions, again, just email me as well. So I'm just going to give you an idea about what this might look like and what some of the issues are at the different stages of a funnel. And really just remember that a funnel is essentially a customer journey, and what you're doing here, the customer doesn't realize there's a funnel, but they're just seeing different marketing, different posts on social media, different ads on Google, based on their actions or based on the stage that they're at. And you have all these campaigns running simultaneously in the background, but people only see them when they trigger the particular way you're remarketing them. So maybe they had to visit your website, then they'll see the next stage, the middle of the funnel ads. And your top of the funnel ads might only go to women who are aged 25 to 35. So although you have all these ads running consistently, you can control the frequency of how often people see them and what they see, so that you're not spamming people, but that also that you're not just advertising to a very small group of people all the time. So you could advertise to your 500,000 people, and you only want them to see the advert once or twice on Facebook. And then you're advertising to maybe 100 people who've added to cart, or let's say 1,000 people who've added to cart, but not bought in the last 30 days. And now they're really hot, they're really close to purchase. So you might have your ad set up in a way that they see 6 or 7 different posts from you over the next 2 weeks. So it depends on their level of intent and the stage they're at in the funnel. So at the top of the funnel, it's all about awareness, and this will be your broadest audience. And initially, this is going to have to be the largest percentage of your budget. So you might be spending 80% of your budget or 90% of your budget on attracting new people to your website, because you don't have that many visitors. So the larger your audience, the larger the amount of people you want to reach, the more it's going to cost you, the more budget you're going to have to assign to that. But if you've only 1,000 website visitors, you're going to reach all of them for maybe 10 to 15 euro. So if you're targeting 500,000 people, it's going to cost a lot more. But as more and more people visit your website, you're going to then have to distribute your budget accordingly. So you're going to have to move some of your percentages down to the middle of your funnel or the bottom of your funnel as those areas grow, to make sure that you're getting sufficient coverage there. So these people are typically those people which could be interested in your product or service, but may not be actively searching for the solution to their needs, wants, pains, frustrations, etc. So essentially, you're targeting your ideal customers. So it might be men aged 30 to 40 who are interested in football and who are, I don't know, parents. So it might only be 100,000 people, it might be 500,000 people, but it's a broad audience, but broad in the sense that it's nationwide or whatever, but it's still, there's some specificity there that they share similar wants, needs, or frustrations. So you need to capture their interest and compel them to take further action. So your adverts have to be emotive, as they say. So you need to be either, fun, shock and awe, really compelling or interesting, intriguing. Can you be helpful, provide value? Can you stimulate their curiosity? But really, the ones that work really well here will capture their attention and stimulate some sort of emotional response. They know nothing about your brand here, so they've no loyalty to you and they've no reason to be looking at you. Some intrigue and curiosity are very important. And just before I jump into these examples, these are by no way, again, an exhaustive list, but just some little types of headlines or types of ad titles you might see in this stage at the top of the funnel. So you might say 5 products every mother needs to survive the terrible twos, or 3 most popular wedding gifts to wow the groom, 3 mistakes to avoid when choosing school shoes for your kids, which cocktail would be your best friend's drink. So what you're doing here is it's very broad, but it's adding value or it's speaking to a particular segment. So the first one is obviously targeting mothers who are going through the terrible twos, have kids who are that age. You're speaking to them in their language, the terrible twos. You're also calling out mothers straight away. You're also saying 5 products. So someone that, although they're not necessarily looking for a product or they realize there was even a product, you're educating them, you're kind of infotaining them that there's actually things here that can make your life a lot easier. So that's something. Also consider that every one of their friends who is talking to them and they're talking about their kid going through the terrible twos will tag them or share that with them. So that's another way of doing it. And why is that? Because it's that emotive impact. Survive the terrible twos. The next one are 3 most popular wedding gifts to wow the groom. So it's not just three wedding gifts, 3 most popular wedding gifts. It's 3 most popular wedding gifts to wow the groom. So you're going to be specific there in that you're targeting people who want to wow the groom. And as a result, in that way, you better live up to that when you don't just send them to a landing page that has, a belt buckle, a pair of shoes and a tie. So, but it's something that will stimulate curiosity and intrigue them. 3 mistakes to avoid when choosing school shoes for your kids. So typically retailers like shoes stores, large majority of their ads are going to focus on the product and see the products, and it'll be, people's taste, do they like the look of them. But a different way to go about that and to stand out from the crowd and really compel people and add value is to show your expertise. And this is really effective in retail businesses because people wouldn't be expecting it. So you might say, I don't know actually any mistakes. I'm sure Brian Swarbrick can tell me, but you maybe want to avoid ones that are going to be sore on the feet or that kind of thing, or won't be able for running around the yard or that kind of thing. But in a sense, then what you're doing here is you're actually making people realize that there's a bigger reason to buy from you rather than just the product or the price, that you're giving them advice and that you're providing a solution, and you're also amplifying the need. They didn't even realize they could buy the wrong shoes for their kids. Which cocktail would your best friends drink? So, like, oftentimes everyone says to me, sure, how can we do online advertising with our type of business? We have worked with everything from bin cleaning companies to presidential election campaigns to IT companies to e-commerce companies. You can do it. And a pub or a restaurant, a simple thing you can do is have a carousel of 6 or 7 or a video of 6 or 7 different cocktails, and you post it with that kind of title. And the thing there is, I'm going to tag, if I drink cocktails with my friends and I'm going out at the weekend, and I'm going to tag them in and say, oh, geez, you'd like this one, or whatever. You're just having a bit of crack. But the thing there is, now they're thinking, let's go there, let's buy off them. And that's why, because they're associating that with you. So remember to specifically target ideal customer avatars. Start with your ideal customer. Who's your number one type of customer? So maybe it's mothers of a certain age, maybe it's mothers of certain interests, and then broaden that out as you get success and as you scale your budget. So rather than just spending more to reach the same people multiple times, target secondary avatars afterwards. And always think, how will your solution help their problems or fulfill their desires? Don't be thinking, oh, I've this great product, let's tell everyone about it. Get into their perspective. And always think, can you amplify their needs, their wants, and their desires to compel them to find out more? So we all have these needs, wants, and desires, but they're latent, or we don't understand them, or we don't give them as much, I suppose, significance as they could have. So what you want to do with your advertising is amplify that kind of emotive response and that need. And your main goals here is not actually to sell. You will sell some products here off the bat. People will click through and they'll go and they'll buy, but it'll be a very small percentage. But your main thing here is to build audience, stimulate engagement, which will be comments, shares, views, and website visits. Middle of the funnel, I just get to Pork's question there. Can we ask questions today? Park, I won't just at the moment, but at the end, I will definitely give you a chance to do that. So he's just asking, can we speak and ask questions later? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end, just I'm conscious of time. So middle of the funnel, at this point, these people know about your business, but you need to stimulate their interest to learn more about you, to educate them about your products and services, and to qualify them. So the problem here is that people will visit your website and they're not remotely going to be your customers, or they visit and they don't have the budget for your product, or whatever reason they're not suited, and you have to qualify them and let them fall out of the funnel if needs be. So at this stage, you're going to have a smaller audience than your top of the funnel. You're targeting people who know about your brand, products, services, and have shown some degree of interest, but may not have sufficient desire or need to purchase yet, or may not be sure whether your solution is the right one for them. So you need to engage with them online through remarketing or social media, emails, that kind of thing, and nurture them with content. So what we mean by nurture is that you're starting on this process of know, like, trust. So to now know you, now you going to build a relationship with them by showing them different content about your business, about your team, about your products, about your expertise, maybe depending on your industry. And then because of that relevance they're going to get with you, and that authority you're going to build, they're going to trust you. So you need to enhance your reputation, educate them about your offer, and stimulate them to take action. Show them how you can help, showcase the benefits of your products and services, and most of all, build rapport and trust. And always go back to thinking, how will your solution help their problems or fulfill their desires? You can create multiple simultaneous remarketing campaigns to different people or to the same people with different messages based on their actions, and have really specific messages to them. So it's all about specificity. These can all be run in one time. So what we've done with one client who is working in the fitness space is they view a video And once they view 3 seconds of that video, then they start seeing content about him and about his advice and tips and value. And then when they visit his website, in the next few days, they'll start seeing content about people he's worked with and testimonials that he's had and success that he's had. And then after another few days, when they kind of built that trust and realized, geez, this guy knows his stuff, then they'll start seeing more direct sales pitches. So that's one way of doing it, or one kind of way you remarket to people, but it can be that specific. Your main goal at the point of the middle of the funnel is to generate leads with content, discounts, maybe competitions, or any lead magnet, as they call it. So that can be a webinar, guide, anything to get their email, that signifies they have significant demand for your product or service. So like competitions aren't great. So let's say you often see businesses, let's say a legal firm running a competition for a new iPod or an iPhone or whatever. It's no relevance to their target market. So what is the point in doing that? You're just attracting absolutely everyone who wants to win the iPod, and they may never want to work with you or have any need for you. So although it might give you some brand awareness, it's not the correct place in the funnel to use that kind of competition. So what you might use here is maybe a competition to win a discount, or to win something for free, or win a ticket to an event, or something that would be of interest to your core target market. So the bottom of the funnel, then, this is all about action and sales. And it's not that action and sales don't happen elsewhere in the funnel. It's just that the core focus here is action and sales. So these people are people who are leads, who have good knowledge of your brand, products, and services, and you're switching your focus to more direct sale messaging. Why should they buy from you now? So that's what you're thinking about, not about educating them as much about your products in general or services, but you're getting much more specific. Why should they buy this now, and why should it be bought from you? So you need to overcome their barriers to purchase with specific advertisements that answer their queries, objections, fears. Show the product in use. Frequently asked questions is a good way of doing it. Show what of life like with your product, how wonderful and amazing and how brilliant their life is going to be when they get this product, or the joy they'll have opening the wrapping, and also on the other hand, show what they'll be missing out if they don't buy it, so the pain they're going to have without it. You want to reduce anxiety by building trust through testimonials, case studies, ratings, guarantees, warranties, security, social proof. So if we're sending a proposal to someone who hasn't worked with us before or don't know, we will include like 5 or 10 testimonials at the end of the proposal that show, past clients who've worked well with us. In some businesses, case studies are easy to use. In some other cases, they're not. You can't be sharing certain information. Ratings, product review ratings, guarantees, warranties, 30-day warranty or 2-year warranties, 30-day guarantees, security. Social proof means reviews and referrals, so stuff like Trustpilot or TripAdvisor, your ratings on these sites. Phrases like award-winning often add a degree of security as well. Offer online chat/phone support to answer their queries, or give the option to book a consultation. Like, that's very important, particularly if you're at high level. So if you're dealing with premium or luxury brands with high price points, you have to be offering online chat and support, and even in some cases book a consultation. And of course, with many businesses, you won't be doing the actual sales online. So for example, B2B customers might be book a consultation, but the more support you give, the better. You're trying to enhance FOMO, so fear of missing out. You want to create urgency and scarcity, but you should be genuine, not this kind of fake urgency and scarcity. But phrases you'll often see are limited places, 24 hours left, last chance. And if that's genuine, that's fine. But if it's not genuine, you can't keep overusing those tactics, because people will realize what you're doing and it will do more harm than good. Discounts, special offers, package deals, free deliveries, different price points. So if someone is thinking, has been interested in your €500 product, do you have a less premium offering that is available for €100? Main goal is sales, obviously. Then after sales, as we touched on already, you want to make the customer's experience fantastic. You want to stimulate reviews, referrals, and user-generated content. And of course, you want to reduce buyer's remorse. This is where they regret buying it. And of course, returns are a nightmare. So how do you package and deliver your product? Some really good stuff I've seen is handwritten notes from the owners, discounts, prizes, freebies, testers, unboxing experiences, customer-only competitions, VIP club that they join. Add personality to your confirmation and follow-up marketing. The more personable it is, the more unique it is, the better this will be. But obviously at scale, this is much harder to do. So if you're a multinational company with 1,000 customers a day, you're not going to be able to do that. But anyway, you can add personality, show them that they're special. And even at times this can be more like haphazard. So like a little voice note on WhatsApp, a little video message of you in the shop, running to customers who bought in the last day on Facebook. Good experience, and they will want to purchase again. Give them the opportunity to purchase again straight away through upsells and cross-sells at the point of purchase and in follow-ups. Reduce buyers' remorse by showing your past reviews and encourage them to join the club of happy customers or whatever it is. Even just by having a loyalty club or calling it something like a club, you're showing that it's a community and that there's lots of people in it. So it's all kind of psychological, kind of positively reinforcing things. And segmented remarketing for specific campaigns in the future, but don't spam them. So maybe Black Friday, you run a specific campaign that's only going out to your past customers. How can you encourage affiliate schemes and referrals? So I really like this image from TrackMaven, where it goes, it's almost like after someone buys, it's a funnel then, and it should be where you're trying to stimulate repeat business first, then when they repeat business, then loyalty, and then it's the time for them to refer others, and then that referral scheme might be where they're getting a few pounds for it, and then the final stage is where they're just off their own back advocating for your business. So top of the funnel, organic social media, paid advertising campaigns, local influencer campaigns, guest features on traditional marketing outlets. Maybe you're featuring in the newspaper or that kind of thing, or the radio. The middle of the funnel is more remarketing. Google AdWords comes in. Google AdWords can be at the top as well. This, every tactic should be used at every level, and just giving you an example here of the way you can start with this. Google AdWords to specifically tailor the landing page, email marketing, remarketing, and sales focused AdWords, stuff that's going to be really targeting people with high intent to buy right now. After sales, email marketing, and remarketing. So I promise we're nearly there. Biggest thing in all this, and I hope you've really understood this, is that you have to speak to specific personas and your customers, and you have to get into their perspective and their mindset. So don't just think you're doing this, or don't say we'll always do this, because you won't. You'll end up creeping back into advertising to everyone. Take some time today, tomorrow, whenever. Research your customers, particularly ones in your retail stores or that you've been dealing with, and think about the different types of customers, and then create maybe 3 or 5 different avatars of ideal customers or different customer types. So you might have the single guy who is buying products for his family, the uh, guy in a relationship who's buying stuff to wow his girlfriend, and the married man who is buying stuff to try and keep his wife from divorcing him. So the different demands, needs, wants, and frustrations at each stage, and how you can speak differently to them, and what is needed at each stage of the funnel to talk to them. So consider their journey from the point of awareness to the point of purchase. How can you accelerate this? What knowledge gaps will they have, and what questions will they have? And then in the middle of the funnel, answer those questions with your content. Segment your audiences based on their level of intent. So you can do that through your tracking pixels and your cookies. So you can specifically advertise to visitors, to leads, to people who've added to cart, to customers. And remember, try and speak to one person. Like, that customer avatar is like a small group of people who share characteristics and behaviors or demographics, and you're speaking to that group as one single person with one key message in each advert. But you may have multiple campaigns running to them with different messages, or you may have multiple campaigns layered to broaden your reach to different avatars and test different messages. Re-engage at different times. Don't think that you tried it once, reaching out to them, and it didn't work, so it's never going to work. Come back to them, re-advertise, try different things with different messages, different offers. They might not be ready to buy your 497 product, but you have a similar 97 product that fulfills the same need, but overall, but not to the same extent or level. And something that's often counterintuitive is that if you're pitching a 97-euro product, you might actually seem too cheap and not exquisite or elite enough. And it might be having a high value product that is what the person is looking for or trusts more. Remember, the primary buyer might be different to the primary user. So you might be having this wonderful gift for a married man, and you're speaking in your tone, your voice, your personality, and the words you're using to stuff that would capture their attention and stimulate them. But it's actually maybe the wife or the friend or the family member that you need to be speaking to in their language, so they understand why this gift is a really valuable one for that particular person. So storytelling, voice, and copywriting are so important, but obviously take time to develop. So remember, your sales funnel will constantly be evolving, and you need to learn and optimize what you're doing. Depending on your business model, you will need different tactics and strategies and different focus. Depending on your business, you could have a low cost impulse buy versus someone who's selling jewelry maybe for a couple €100, someone who's doing a long-term thing like house insurance, or even high scale stuff like a mortgage that might be the biggest purchase someone ever makes in their life. So you're going to need to take different strategies and different tactics, and the buy-in journeys are going to be longer or shorter depending on that, and you need to design your marketing strategy in such a way to accommodate that. So test and test again, but remember your overall strategy, goals, and principles. Some people would buy at every stage of the funnel depending on their level of intent and needs. So assign a small percentage of your budget at the top and the middle of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel ads. So let's say you're spending 50% of your overall budget on the top, maybe spend 45% of it on your top of the funnel ads, and 5% of it on the bottom of the funnel ads running to a small amount of people up here. It's much easier to sell to warm audiences. Email lists and customers are so important. Don't spam, treat them like VIPs, but remarket to them frequently. No sales funnels will solve a broken business or lack of investment in marketing. So it doesn't matter who you have working on your marketing, what you're doing. if you don't have the systems in place to facilitate it, it won't work. It takes significant time, patience, and testing. Be specific in your advertising. Run multiple campaigns on multiple platforms. And the last thing then, before we go on to the tools, is the principles of persuasion. So I have a nice image there. Reciprocity. So this means if you give value, if you give something free, people will feel like they need to do that back to you. And that's why you give advice and value and lead generation. It's why you do stuff like this where you're giving your advice for free. You're not expecting anything back, but something may come back in the future. Consistency. You've fulfilled needs in the past, you've fulfilled demands, you've done the sales process properly, so people are confident in you to do that again. Social proof, other people have bought from you. Know, like, trust. It's just that you'll know yourself, you'll buy off people you like, and if you go into a shop and someone's rude to you, you won't buy off them again. Authority, you want to buy off the expert, particularly in certain areas. So if you're in if you're in fitness, health, if you're in insurance, if you're in legal, people will go to the expert. How can you position yourself as an expert? Scarcity. If something is scarce, people will want it more. And then the tactics are all the same, but search engine optimization is one extra one to include in long term. And search engine optimization is the process of improving your organic positioning on search engines such as Google, so that your website is higher on the list for particular keywords. So essentially, you want to get to page one on Google, and that's done through keyword optimization, logging and backlinks. SEO is vital, but it takes time and it takes months till you really see a benefit of it. So you need to be careful who you listen to, because it is a bit of a minefield, but some resources you can use are SEMrush, Copyblogger, Yoast, and Neil Patel's blog, but it takes a lot of time. I'm just going to absolutely run through these tools. So there's so many there. They're not exhaustive by any means, but image and video editing, Adobe obviously have a huge suite of tools. Canva is really easy to want to use, particularly if you don't like if you want to do things quickly and you're not really that graphic design minded, but they're constantly developing what they're offering. Quick is an InShot or two apps for editing videos and making videos a bit more engaging for social media. Free stock photos on those 3 websites. Transcribing, so like what I'm going to do after this is when this video downloads, I will upload it into Otter, and that will take everything I've said and transcribe it into words, and then I'll edit that and publish it as a blog, possibly, or a series of blogs. Project management tools, screen share that allow you to show customers maybe how to use a particular product if you're a software company, or how to find something on your website. Email marketing, Active Campaign is unbelievable. Really like it for e-commerce, for automations. MailerLite is a newer one, brilliant because it offers really good landing pages. So you can create website pages, landing pages that people can. So that's what you signed up for on this, was for this webinar, was a MailerLite landing page. So it avoids you having to know how to code a website or create a web page with your developer. Save money, save time. Writing Grammarly is class. It just makes sure your grammar is on point. Contracts, DocuSign, so you can get people signing stuff online. I'm not sure about the whole legal situation with that, but I'm sure it's grand. Strong passwords, or storing passwords, even LastPass is a great way to create strong passwords, but store them. So as you move online, you're going to be using a lot more apps and softwares. LastPass will store all your passwords and allow you to share them with other people. Webinars and online meetings, Zoom, that's what we're using here. Link shorteners. So if you've really long links, they're horrible to be putting up into your social media. So I'm sure you've seen bit.ly links. It's a free tool to get started with. Meeting scheduler, if you're booking free consultations, Acuity scheduling is the one we use. It's pretty good. Social media scheduling, there's thousands of them. Hootsuite, Buffer, I'm sure you know of some of them. A good one we've discovered recently is Go Cardless, and that allows you to accept direct debits online, and it's very, very cheap, as opposed to, and you just send the customer a link and they sign up, and you can determine when it comes out and all that kind of thing. But it's really handy. And then work, of course, I just use Google Docs, Sheets, and Forms for everything. So now, questions. So I'm conscious of the time. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat now. I'll take some time. If you don't, thank you for watching. If you have any questions in the coming days, I'm sure there's so much content there. I would say to you, please review it again, maybe down the line. You know, take a half an hour, really look at the tactics first and how you're going to implement them. So it's absolutely completely a waste of time of you coming on this if you don't implement the stuff. So take some time, assign it to your calendar for the next week or two of you're going to review the tactics section, you're going to review the strategy section and the actions that you're going to take to do that. And as I said, anyone who's tuned in, feel free to take me up on a free marketing strategy consultation. Just go to that link there, and you'll even see Acuity scheduling is what we're using there, www.colinbaker.as.me, and you'll see two options. Choose the full blast advertising one and we'll book a 30-minute consultation. Now, that will be really for me to get the questions and information about your business, and then I will come back to you with some ideas on your marketing strategy and some advice. So thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time and your cooperation, and you know, I'm really grateful for it. If you can connect with me on LinkedIn, I suppose is the main place, or hit me up on Facebook or whatever. But feel free to reach out to me if you've any questions or if you've any problems in your business at the moment, or you're just looking for a bit of advice. I'll get to the questions now in the chat, but if you've no questions, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon. Barry Delaney, has the cost of Facebook ads gone up or down due to the pandemic? Slashed dramatically, I would say. So this really depends on where you're advertising to, the extent of this, and the extent of your previous cost to advertising. But in general, the cost has gone down because there's a couple of factors. People are spending more time online, so they're viewing more content on Facebook, and that means you've more opportunities to get into their newsfeed. So essentially, there's more advertising space, which means the costs are lower because there's less competition, and it's a competitive auction you're in. So there's less competition. So yeah, it's gone down a lot. And then the other factor that comes into that is lots of businesses are closed down temporarily, or you know, have stopped trading altogether, and they're definitely not advertising now. And we've had a number of clients stop advertising straight away because of the fear of what's coming and the unknown. You know, they don't want to be spending money on advertising if they don't know are the customers going to have money or they're going to need their products. And like, you know, in some respects, like we had 3 events coming up and an event travel company, so we were very unlucky with that. But you know, obviously those businesses aren't advertising now, so there's even less competition, so your costs are really gone down, and so much so, one, customer who would be, or one client who would be advertising nationally would typically, so one of the metrics you would look at is called CPM, the cost to reach 1,000 views. And CPM can be anywhere from €2 to €5 if you're targeting broad audiences, but if you're targeting more specific audiences, it gets higher. But that CPM now is as low as €1 or less in on some platforms. So it's really gone down a lot. And this is more pronounced if you were targeting to certain demographics, let's say high earners, business owners in the States, where it's much more competitive and there's much more people advertising there. So the percentage that the ads have gone down may have gone down much more. Thanks, Caroline. Will do. Thanks, Adele. Park. Yeah, by all means. Yeah, I can see that, Park. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to shoot me a message on WhatsApp there, and I can see when I'm free. I have a couple of calls this evening, but I popped my message in my number there. I think that's gone to you privately. Yeah, it has. So, well, I'll send it to anyone, to everyone. So if you want to, or just use the meeting scheduler to book a time. There actually won't let you book a time today. There's limits on it, but yeah, just message me there, 085 8404 004. Send me a message on WhatsApp, and I will, by all means, talk to you today at some stage that suits both of us. So if that's all the questions, then we might call it a day. Brilliant, Ian. Thank you. Cheers, Park. Okay, so if you're typing away there, I'm going to log off now. Please email me the question, as said, and I'll send you the recording in the coming days. It's great, guys. Thank you very much.